Welcome to another edition of Inspired Stories, where leaders share their experiences so we can learn from their successes, how they've overcome adversity, and explore current challenges they're facing.
Welcome to another edition of the Inspired Stories podcast, where leaders share their experiences so we can learn from their successes and be inspired by how they've overcome adversity. My name is Anthony Codispoti, and today's guest is Chef Nikky, a Thai Texan chef and entrepreneur who is the force behind the Chef Nikky lifestyle brand and the Asian Mint restaurant group, celebrating 20 years with 5 Dallas locations. Known for her approachable Thai and Asian fusion cuisine, her cookbook, Thai Food and Travel with Chef Nikky, Easy Thai Recipes to Feed Your Soul, won the Best in the World Gourmand World Cookbook Award, and it was a bestseller on Amazon as well. She hosts the YouTube series Thai Takeover and leads culinary trips to Thailand. Chef Nikky was named one of Dallas's top 10 best chefs by Culture Map's Tastemaker Awards. Now, during the pandemic, she launched Thai cooking sauces and virtual escape to Thailand experiences. Her restaurants have been acclaimed as the best Thai restaurants by the Dallas Morning News and Eater Dallas. Featured in D Magazine as a top North Texas leader, Chef Nikky mentors future culinary talent and supports over 100 charities. She enjoys midnight baking, Texas barbecue, and exploring vibrant food scenes with her family in Dallas. Now, before we get into all that good stuff, today's episode is brought to you by my company, Add Back Benefits Agency, where we offer very specific and unique employee benefits that are both great for your team and fiscally optimized for your bottom line. One recent client was able to add over $900 per employee per year in extra cash flow by implementing one of our proprietary programs. The results vary for each company, and some organizations may not be eligible. To find out if your company qualifies, contact us today at addbackbenefitsagency.com. Now, back to our guest today, the founder of Asian Mint and ChefNikky.com, Chef Nikky herself. I appreciate you making the time to share your story today.
Yes, thank you, Anthony. It is an honor to be here. Sawadee ka.
Sawadee ka. Okay, so Nikky, tell us in your own words first what Asian Mint is all about.
Wow. Asian Mint is, wow, even more and beyond what I ever started. When I started it, it was funny story.
Let's hear it. I love funny stories.
Asian, I love funny stories. When I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do at 25-ish, somebody told me, said, whatever you do, Nikky, do not open a restaurant. It's the hardest thing you could ever do in the world, and you would not have a life. So I said, boing, bing, bing, light bulb. Let's start there, and then we'll work myself backwards. 20 years in, I'm still doing it, and I love it. And it really honestly feeds my soul to be able to feed other people through my passion. My love language is feeding, is food. And so it's a passion project that has turned into a multi-unit, multi-million-dollar business that now also supports an amazing group of people, because, you know, I do this for the people and my employees, who I call my minties, really keeps me going, in addition to our Mint fanatics, our customers. And with that, it really, I love it. I love what Asian Mint is all about.
So aside from wanting to prove that person wrong who told you don't start a restaurant, what else got you excited to start this? Did you have a culinary background? Had you been in the restaurant industry before?
Everything was pretty much self-taught. I went from a host server position. Then while I was serving, during that time, my dad had asked me to come back to Dallas. I was going to school, finished up school in Boston, and then was working in an advertising agency. And he said, hey, would you be interested in coming back to Dallas? Let's start a food delivery business. He was doing that at the time. And he was like, I would love someone to come and kind of run the operations in the office. And I'm like, you know what? That kind of sounds fun. And I told him, like, give me 2 years, or I would give him 2 years. And during that time, I was serving in a restaurant. I was singing in a band. I was going to culinary school because I love to bake and I really wanted to figure out how to use like commercial kitchen equipment and starting to batch things at large. Met my husband and we decided to do something related to food. He fell in love with me because of my chocolate flourless cake. I found out later after we got married. But when we got married, 1 month in, that's when we started our business, our restaurant together. So that's kind of like the backstory, just kind of, you never really know why you decide to do things, but if you just kind of go with the flow or just listen to the energy around you, and I'm kind of that kind of person, you just kind of do it and just kind of give it all. But I never knew it would turn me, to what I'm doing today and what I've been able to do to feed, over 1 million souls in a year through all the restaurants.
Is your husband Thai as well?
He is. He's 100% Thai. I am more of a 50-50 Thai Texan kind of gal. But yes.
And so he was also excited to start a Thai cuisine focused restaurant. No.
I don't think so.
Okay.
The funny thing is, so we were servers working in 2 different Thai restaurants, and we met like at Thai karaoke night. And once he started to hang out with me, he knew that my passion was in the kitchen. He has always had a chef tongue. So a chef tongue is like when you taste something, number one, you can tell like what is in it. In addition to like, he can say, okay, this is what like the general public would enjoy. And with that, he already had the talent. So we basically jumped in without having any full restaurant management operation experience and just kind of went with our gut saying like, we're going to do this and we're going to see how it goes. And if it doesn't work, then we're both going to move back to Thailand and figure out what we want to do then.
All right. So for someone who's never been to one of your restaurants, what's the customer experience like? What's the decor, the ambiance? What's the food and the menu like? Paint a picture for us.
Absolutely. So at Asian Mint, we are known for our fresh flavors, minimal seasoning, really highlighting the ingredients, simple but amazing comfort flavor profiles, and very friendly service, just kind of like that Thai smile that we were talking about earlier, and comfortable but modern atmosphere. We are all about highlighting the colors in the dish. So we have like white plates, white tables, a lot of like white, bright, open air atmosphere in the store. When we first opened, we had a writer who wrote about us and say, it's like an Apple store feel, but in a restaurant setting. So if that kind of gives you a hint, that's kind of like what we are and who we are. Modern, minimal, but just full of flavor and really soul feeding.
That's a pretty cool description. The Apple Store really helps to paint an interesting picture. So you start the first location. You don't have a lot of that restaurant management experience. What was those first months or years like?
It was hard. I mean, we worked, I feel like 20 hours a day. We literally opened the restaurant and rented an apartment across the street that we could look out the window and see like, did we turn off the lights? Did we remember to lock the doors? Is the gas turned off? So it was hard, but it was really fun. You're like 20 in your late 20s. You have all the energy in the world to do it. You got friends and family to come in and help. And it was long hours, and that can really beat you down, and not being able to be off during the holidays. Those are like your busiest seasons. More or less, when we did the first restaurant, we were lucky enough, I would say, to make like the top 10 best new restaurants of 2005. And with that, we went from like serving, I would say maybe 70 covers a night to like 250 with the wait out the door.
Wow.
And with
that publicity really helped.
It does. It really, really does. But But I think the important thing in the restaurant world is once you get that person to come in that first time, how do you turn them into a repeat customer? You want them to come back over and over again. So that first impression, literally when the guide came out, it was in the Dallas Morning News. I didn't know that was going to happen, first of all. Then when it happened, I had to call in literally aunts, uncles, friends, family. Like, we just need bodies at this point because we couldn't keep up making sure that everyone had an amazing first time experience. The kitchen was running at capacity. We had to learn how to time manage everything, from the front door with the host, not just like, okay, we have an open table, let somebody come in, but we really had to pace everything. We had to learn how to schedule in more staff. Where do we need to put them? What do we need to train? Everything was on the job because I didn't have corporate restaurant experience at all. And everything was just based on intuition of, being a server at a restaurant, knowing what the host does, figuring out how to bartend. Like, I was self-taught. I don't know. I guess I just love to learn on the fly is what I figured out. But looking back, like, if I had had more corporate experience, I think my life would have been a lot easier. But I was able to create my own culture, systems, operations, and the management team based on what I find to be a successful, I guess, perfect sauce.
Were you able to lean on anyone with more experience during this time? Any, I don't know, peer groups or mentors who you could go to and say, how do I do this?
I would say I did not know a lot of people at the time because I just moved to Dallas. I didn't have or even knew about mentorship. We did hire an amazing chef who came in and helped us, which also she helped train my husband and myself. And she was the one who would be like, okay, Nikki, this is what you're going to need for tomorrow. Here are all the things. So we did have someone back of house that we had hired on way at the beginning because she came on and she said, you know what, you guys don't really know what you're doing. I'm going to come in, help you set up everything. And like in 2 years, I'm going to teach you all and then we're going to leave. So in a way, like, she offered herself up. She quit her other job.
Wow.
And came in and just helped us really solidify the system operationally from the back of house. Front of house, I think it was mostly just from my learned experience as a server and observing how that all works, and my husband as well. But yeah, I could have probably been a lot better if I had more mentors. When we opened, though, I do remember this really particular fond memory of another restaurateur who came into the restaurant because they lived not too far away and they heard about us. And they came in and they introduced themselves and said, hey, basically got to learn me, like who I am, any experience whatsoever. And he would offer, his experience share of hard situations that he had with customers and how he overcame that. So I think talking to a lot of people up front, which was like my favorite thing to do, is to get to know my clientele or my mint fanatics. And then I learned more of through those conversations of how in every business, no matter restaurant or not, people is pretty much the hardest thing to manage, whether they're customers or employees. And we commonly shared experiences of successes or lesson learned from each other.
So how long into the first location, Nikki, was it before you thought, okay, we've really got something here that we can replicate and we should keep with it and we should open up more locations?
Mm-hmm. They were 4 years apart from restaurant 1 to number 2. And in that time, I also started a family, right? And then had a child. So kind of balancing that all was interesting. When I was opening the second location or looking for the space, I didn't even know I was pregnant. So I kind of felt like I had twins. But thought process from going from the first location to the second location, it was also one of those things that came to mind, like, okay, we got one going. It's awesome. How do I make it better? How can I make it more efficient and effective? And my goal when I opened the second one was, okay, I want to open a restaurant where we have systems and processes to an extent where I wouldn't have to be there. How can it run without me being there? Because I can't be at two places at the same time, right? And I think me being pregnant, literally, I think we opened the restaurant September of 2008, and my son was born March 2009. Okay. So there was a big need to create that system because I was not going to be able to be around. Didn't know how long I was going to take, a maternity leave for, because it is your own business. And that really put a pin in it to say, I need to find the right people, put in the right systems, and hope for the best, because this would be the first one where I wasn't even going to be able to be there.
Well, they say mother is the necessity of all invention, and you becoming a mother was the necessity that prompted you into building these systems and processes. And so that's great. That's sort of expedited and sort of highlighted, like, okay, we got to get this stuff done and put it in place. How long was it between opening the second and third location? That shorter time frame?
No, longer time frame. So I said, I don't know what was that. So my husband was good with two. So he's very comfortable with two. I was comfortable with two for a while. I was more interested in having another child because I wanted to have more than one. That was one of, the highlights of my life still today is having a child. And so that's such a good question. Between 2 and 3, I would say maybe another 3-4 years.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it was like 2007 or 2008, I believe. I can't even remember, but I know I already had my second child.
Yeah.
And they're 4.5 years apart. So maybe, 4 or 5 years after I had my third one. In the restaurant world, there is a momentum, like, right? You open 1, 2, 3, 4. There is a momentum when people want to continue to open more restaurants, but we didn't have that mentality. It was more like, how can we have a balanced life at the same time, continue to grow? And we grew with the team. So the third location came about because I had a manager who was interested in having their own restaurant. And I said, would you like that experience? She said, yes. So I'm like, okay, we're going to open the third restaurant and you're going to be in this process from the beginning all the way till opening, and you pretty much will need to be running that store. And I believe in my people. I believe in teaching them a lesson, and I always learn on the job. And I feel like that is really the best way to learn. And that's kind of how it came about, that third location. Yeah. And even the third location, we were also in the process of expanding our first location because we had an opportunity to expand that first location next door because we were like bursting at the seams. We had, 30, 45 an hour wait for lunch and dinner at that location. So there's like multiple things going on at the same time. But the third location came about before we were able to expand our first location. And then, are you going to ask me about the fourth? And maybe the fifth?
No, a bigger part of what I'm trying to get at here is, I talk to a lot of founders that, they start a business, it's small, a restaurant, and they're involved in every facet of it, right?
Yeah.
Like they've got their fingers in everything. And then as they grow to another location and another one and another one, they have to evolve their personality, their skill set, their management style to be able to support that. Because like you said, you can't, even with 2 locations, you couldn't be in 2 spots at once. So once you get to 5, like your involvement in the things that you're doing now have to be a lot different than they were before. And so I'm kind of curious to understand like how you personally managed that type of transition. Not everybody can grow from being the founder to being a manager of something bigger.
Absolutely. So I would say after my second location, 4 years in, I started to be really comfortable, right? I had two locations. Now I have kind of like a semi-management team of like 2 or 3 people, and I had more time. And I'm all about self-improvement. Like, what else can I learn? Or is there something else that I could be doing that would be more fulfilling? And at that time, I went out and started networking a little bit more. And I think that's when my first femtor came in, a female mentor who put the idea of maybe even an exit plan, right? So let's say if something happened to you, Nikki, how would the restaurant survive? Do you have those kind of systems in place? If somebody wanted to come and buy your business tomorrow and offered you like, the right number, can you walk away? And that really stuck in my mind. And we worked on even more creating, mission statement, value system, the corporate structure, and putting the people in between me and the restaurant of how can we create that system where I really am away. And there was this really fun exercise that I did, and basically figuring out, okay, what are all the things that Nikki can do? And what are the things that only Nikki should do? And what are the things that Nikki should not do? And that really helped step me out of the day to day and figuring out, okay, what are the things that make the register ring that Nikki does? And list all those things out, put a correlation of the things I do want to do, align those, and create pretty much a job description of all the things I shouldn't be doing to hire that person to come in and take care of all the things that need to get done that I should not be doing. So these are the steps that we did to be able to, number one, be able to sell the business if we wanted to, or grow. In our case, it's like, okay, if I'm not doing these things, I have more opportunities to do things that I love, which is business development, finding new locations, going out to network, talk about the business, and all the marketing fun that I get to do now through social media, being online, these presents, amazing podcasts that I get to be on, and just sharing the love of a successful business in an industry that is commonly known as, the life sucker of the world is kind of what people say. And it's actually been really fun to also see, I don't know, you have interviewed a lot more restaurateur, but the restaurant pre-COVID, after post-COVID, I think a lot of restaurateurs had the time to think about what is important, what are the really true priorities in our life that we shouldn't probably be chaining ourselves to the restaurant from open to close. Then came a lot more light bulb moments to these entrepreneurs to create more systems and processes, to hire more people who might not have restaurant experience, but more experience in other areas that also apply to the restaurant world, whether it be financial people or realtors. You normally don't think about, but hiring all those out, because we're known, restaurateurs are known to do it all. Like, we have to do the accounting, we have to do the payroll, we have to, do the marketing, we have to do the operations, we have to buy the stuff, check the inventory. But in reality, that's not the case. We're just been taught back in the day, like, you just need to do it all. So that's kind of probably leading to what you're thinking about.
Do you want to give a shout out to your mentor?
Yes, Sandra Yancey of eWomen Network. We are still working with them today, and I've been able to even invite my mentors, my management team, to go and learn through her program and her system. It's really, really amazing. They're based here in Dallas, but they are an international company. We're just lucky to have her down the street and be able to tap into her all the time.
So you're at 5 locations now. Any desire to grow further?
We do. We do have a growth plan of 10 locations by 2030. In the restaurant world, people will be like, wait, that's all you want to do? But we believe in a balanced lifestyle and not killing ourselves in the process. And that can change, right? But that seems like a very accessible goal. I have, 2 kids. My staff have also started to grow their family, and we want to have a lifestyle where we can enjoy what we do and have fun in the process. That's like kind of my main goal. If we're not having fun, why are we doing it? I have a 15-year-old and a 10-year-old going on, I feel like she's going on 18, but being able to have that and enjoy growing them in addition to really growing the business, that's important to us.
Are there things that you miss about what you were doing on a regular basis when you first started the restaurant versus now when you're in a bit of a different role?
There are. I still miss maybe going in to the restaurant every day, having to go into the restaurant and connect with my team. So I now do that. I literally will have to schedule myself. Okay, go into these locations at these times so that I can go and have more of a personal connection. Because that's really what the business is all about. It's hospitality. It's really soul to soul connection. It's not just like spreadsheets. And I do miss that. That is a part of my personality, my DNA. And now in my new role, what I also love about it, because it now has given me more time, is to be able to mentor my staff, but not really be in charge of like the hiring or the firing. That was not some of my favorite times. But you do that enough that you know how to do it, and being able to teach those skill sets, letting them know, like when you hire and fire, it is all about, are they in alignment with our value system, and really instilling that value into every point, not just every person, but even in our systems, even in our communication language, our marketing. A lot of times they will forget, and we're that person who has to continue to remind them what are our values and why are we doing what we're doing today.
So everybody can find Asian Mint at asianmint.com. I want to shift gears a little bit and talk about the Chef Nikky brand. So Nikky is Nikky. So chefnikky.com. Tell us about the Chef Nikky brand, how this idea came about, what it's all about.
The Chef Nikky brand came about in around 2019, so going on 5 years. And it was more of me wanting to share above and beyond outside of just my restaurant. How can I really share my passion and inspire people beyond just hanging out at the bar or in the restaurant? How can I touch more lives? Because one thing that I've learned is the restaurant became a platform for me. I would be in the restaurant, I would sit down at the bar, I would talk to the person next to me, and little did I know that they walked out of the restaurant, sometimes even quitting their job and following their passion, because they were inspired, hopefully also by the food that they got to enjoy, but the stories that I got to share with them. And they would look at me and be like, "You're so inspiring, Nikky. I want to do what I love to do too." And I would literally turn that question around, like, what do you want to do? Why aren't you doing it? What's stopping you? Just asking those questions that I ask myself all the time, because we have to be reminded, are we still in alignment with what, our true calling is, our passion? And just based on those stories that they would come back and tell me of, like, okay, because of that conversation, or because of something I saw you do in the restaurant, or because of something that staff talked to me about, or that dish, really evoked this passion in me, it just made me realize, like, I want to share my life experience with more people. The chefnikky.com started off like, okay, how can I, inspire people through food, culture, and travel, which is actually still my core main reason of why I do what I do through this brand. And with that, I was able to birth the YouTube channel, because people are interested in knowing where can I buy the best groceries from the Asian grocery store, because it could be very overwhelming, number one. I learned that people really enjoy that. Or where does Nikky like to eat? What does she like to enjoy? Favorite restaurants, favorite places to visit. I love to travel. And all of those cultural connections that people forget, that when you go to a place, it's not about, okay, let's hit all of the checklists. Let's make sure we hit all of these favorite things that people do when they go tour places, but that deeper connection with the people in the culture. Did you look into their eyes? Did you ask their stories? Did they talk about you? Did you talk about them? It's those deeper story connections and experiences that really change you and potentially that other person that you meet in a whole nother country, right? And also the food. The food is that language that kind of bonds all of us together. And that's where the Chef Nikky brand came about in 2019. Then I started trips because I would go to Thailand every year.
So you
with
organize
my family.
trips, people to go with you.
I do.
Okay.
I started
All right.
organizing trips, and it was all because, again, my mint fanatic said, "Hey, Nikky, the next time you go, I want to go with you." And I'm like, okay, I don't think you would want to go when my whole family is going because we're doing all these family things, but let me figure something out. So I started to create a work trip to go to Thailand again during one of the favorite times of the year, which is Loy Krathong, which is the full moon festival in November, because they have this beautiful cultural ceremony where they do the floating lanterns and the floating flower baskets in the water. And it is just a magical, magical, once in a lifetime for anybody to go to Thailand at that time. And I put it together and I posted it and I said, hey, are you really interested to go to travel with me? And literally I posted it within 1 week. I was able to fill this small group of 12 to go on the trip to Thailand with me. And it's my favorite thing to do every year. I only get to do it once a year right now because, I still got to do what I need to do with the restaurant and everything else and the kids being around. But it was one of those moments where I said, this is what I was meant to do. I love this. It feeds my soul. I get to change people's lives. They come back, with new perspective of their life and getting to change even just a little bit, if not a whole life trajectory. Because you really are going to another side of the world. Like Thailand and Texas or America they're 12 hours difference. Imagine how different of a culture shock, time change, and everything else that you can experience. It just changes the rhythm in your body, the way you're thinking, the way you see life. And those are just magical moments that I really enjoy being able to curate for people.
We were talking before we went live with the interview that I've spent a little bit of time in Thailand, although it's been several years.
Yes.
Prior to going to Thailand, I had traveled quite a bit in Europe. And so I thought, I'm a world traveler. I've seen things. And then my first introduction to Bangkok is this enormous city with so many people and traffic and all kinds of bars and restaurants and like all kinds of crazy nightlife. And one of the things that really stuck out to me, and I still remember to this day, even though it's been years since I've been back, are the people. Like the friendliness of the people and how welcomed I felt everywhere that I went, and people are just always smiling. I don't know what it is in the water there in Thailand that people are drinking that they greet you with a smile. And so a wonderful place to be. I'm kind of curious though, what part or parts of Thailand do you take your group to?
So I'm from Bangkok, and we take people to 3 different regions in Thailand because I'm all about you understanding the food culture. The 3 different food cultures, there's technically 4 more, but we do North, Central, and South. And with those 3 understandings, you will really get become kind of like a Thai culture and food and travel expert when you come back to your hometown. So those are the 3 regions, mostly Chiang Mai, Phuket, and Bangkok are the 3 regions that we'll hit. And we'll also hit like some other smaller cities around Bangkok when we go visit, the floating market or the fresh market that we get to, being on the river. It's a lot of fun.
Some of those are places that I've been before, and I will echo Chef Nikky's comments. Those places are a lot of fun. They're a real treasure if you've never been.
Do you have a favorite?
Something to put on your bucket list. I really enjoyed the floating market, and I enjoyed being up north in Chiang Mai and Chiang Rai. a little quieter, like a little bit of a different pace, but the same friendly people and lots of beautiful scenery to check out. So
yeah, we are called the Land of Smile.
Is that right? I didn't realize that.
We
That
are.
makes a lot of sense. It fits.
Yes.
So,
It's in our
Chef
culture.
Nikky, chefnikky.com. Are those some of your sauces that I see behind you? Can you tell us more about those?
Yes, they are. So we launched a sauce line. It's kind of like a COVID baby. I've been teaching cooking classes since we've started the business. And one of the main pain points that I notice is you don't have an Asian grocery store on every corner in America, right? You have to go to Asian markets, which is in Chinatown or Koreatown. And once you go in there, it is extremely overwhelming. Not everything is in English. And there's like 100 kinds or maybe 1,000 kinds of sauces that you need to purchase, right? And so what I've decided is let's take away that pain point. I want to simplify you thought process when you go into the kitchen, and I want to create something that's Asian, that's Thai. How can I make it super simple? So we created the sauce line. These are the exact same sauces that we use in our restaurant today.
Oh, wow.
So you can create restaurant quality, perfect every time Thai dishes at home. I have a few here. This is our gluten-free stir fry, and you use it more than just stir fry. So on my website, on the YouTube channel, even in my cookbook, we'll have recipes where you can really break it down and use traditional sauces, or you can use my sauces to cut out, sometimes 10, 15, 20 minutes of time trying to put all those seasonings together when it's just like one sauce, you pour, you go, you're done. It's perfect every time. Your kids will love it every time. They won't be saying, why does it taste different this time, right? You don't have a lot of time. Me as a mom, it's really important to be able to create flavorful, nutritious meals for my kids that I don't feel bad of, going out and buying another burger and fries every single night or fried chicken. Awesome. Yes, there's the cookbook. So those are the sauce lines. We have them at Central Market, which is a local foodie supermarket here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, along with my cookbook as well. So those kind of go hand in hand. The cookbook came out in October of 24, and it is my new baby project. My new project, not a baby project at all.
A huge giant project, I'm sure.
Yes, exactly.
And you can buy it here from your website as well as from Amazon. Tell us what people should expect from it. Before you tell us what people can expect from it, we've got 5-star review rating. And tell us about the awards that it won.
Awesome. So the cookbook came out October of 24. My goodness. We had won this award when we were about to go into print, and we submitted it to the World Gourmand Cookbook Competition. And it is an international award for cookbooks. And we won the Best Female Chef Cookbook, #1, first place.
Wow.
In November of 2023. And we were on a trip. We were in Chiang Rai, actually, on a trip when we found out that the book won this award. So it's awesome because we won the award soon enough that we were able to really change up the
and include it in the book.
And include it in the book.
You can sit right there.
Yeah. It is it's just really cool, honestly, to be recognized and to be able to say, hey, we are, a best in the world, best in class cookbook. Hopefully that would inspire you to want to purchase the book. More importantly, when my cookbook creator, Pickups in studio, this was all done in Thailand. And he was looking at my personality, who I am, what kind of recipes we were creating. And he was like, Nikky, you have so much color. You're so colorful. If I had to, be able to open the book for you, it is more of like a coffee table book at this point, because there's so much beautiful photos, hopefully to inspire you to want to go to Thailand or travel
it's
anywhere.
all really glossy, high color. Yeah.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
So it's a coffee table book all in all. 1/3 of the book is my life story. There is the celebration that I was talking about where they do the floating lanterns. I think there's my family back in the day. So cute.
Beautiful.
They're not that small anymore. This is my personal copy, so I have a lot of signatures. It's like my little yearbook. And basically, coffee table book. 1/3 of the book is my story, hopefully to inspire you to follow your passion, your calling, and everything in the back. There's 53 recipes that are very simple and easy Thai recipes that you can create at home with under 10 ingredients or less, 5 steps or less. Super easy. And you can use ingredients that you can find in your pantry, your refrigerator, your supermarket around the corner. Really, really hoping that you can talk yourself out of saying Thai food is so hard to make. But that's
especially when you can incorporate your sauces. Like you said, sometimes going to an Asian grocery store, one, they're hard to find. And then two, a lot of the products are coming, right from Asia. They have, foreign languages on the labels. You're not sure what you're getting. But with your sauces, you can really add a lot of that traditional Thai flavor in. And that removes a lot of that perceived complexity that people have when thinking about making Thai cuisine.
Yeah. And it's so funny. I had another funny story.
All right.
We were doing a book signing, and one of my super regular customers, this was at a supermarket, the Central Market supermarket we were at, and he came up to me and like, Nikki, I feel like I'm cheating if I buy your sauce. I'm going to go figure it out. And I'm like, okay, fine, you do that. But by the way, your favorite thing is pad kimao. Is like, he just went on and on how much he loves our pad kimao. And I'm like, here's a bottle of my black soy, use it or not, let me know what you think about it. And he literally texted me the next day. And he said, this was so easy. I don't know what I was thinking. I would actually just use your sauce to make everything. I don't feel like I'm cheating. The ingredients that you use in here are basic ingredients that I could buy. It's sugar, it's salt, it's soy sauce. I mean, like, come on. How is it cheating if all I'm doing is kind of mixing these things in the same bottle? And he's like, I'm never going back again. I'm really just going to be using all your sauces to make all these dishes. But I was able to convert him, and just that text that he sent me just made my day. Because even I was feeling like, am I making this too simple? Because a lot of times, all the Thai cookbooks that I've been looking at, it's like very detailed. You need to make your own curry paste to be authentic. But I'm like, do you really? And in my cookbook, honestly, it doesn't tell you how to make a curry paste. It's like, go buy this curry paste, the red, the green, the yellow. And I'm going to show you how to use that. Who has time to go buy all the ingredients? Number one, is it readily fresh as you can get it in Thailand? No, it's not possible to get the lemongrass, the galangal, the ginger all the time. That's always fresh. And being grown, something that's been grown in Thailand versus here also has a different flavor profile. But if I can recommend to you a curry paste that has no preservatives, that has been freshly made in Thailand, packed in a can, as fresh as it can be to really get that authentic flavor profile, why wouldn't I tell you to use that? That's really, my thought process. And just, again, that text message saying like, I'm not cheating. I'm actually being able to create and more interested in making this dish more than once in my life, because it is that simple. It is that easy. And I can start putting vegetables that I love or what I have in my refrigerator to create these flavors. So, yeah.
You're like the easy button for Thai cuisine.
Absolutely. We're busy. We're busy, Anthony. Moms are not. We got a busy lifestyle.
I get it. So where do you take the Chef Nikky brand from here? What else do you want to do with it?
Wow. I'm good right now.
Yeah.
I'm going with the flow. And
got enough projects going.
Yeah, we got enough. I'm still enjoying it. And I see what people are telling me is, with the cookbook, I would be able to share my story more on maybe hopefully different and more platforms. Maybe doing speaking engagements through big corporations I think I would really enjoy that. Any way possible that I can really take my story, share my experiences, my successes, my challenges, my failures, so that you would not have to go out and do the same thing and, waste money to learn these lessons, is really what I feel and passionate about to share.
So in the intro, we mentioned that you support over 100 charities. How do you choose?
How do you do that?
Yeah, I guess that's a two-part question. One, how do you do that? And then two, how do you choose the causes that you want to support?
That is so true. So when at first, when we're in the restaurant business, people are constantly coming up to you. Hey, I'm a super regular customer. Would you be interested in donating a gift card? Or would you be interested in donating a chef table and things like that? And to a certain extent, you'd be like, I can't do it all. I really can't. So I think what really speaks to me are pretty much two things, education. And it really boils down to the quote that I often hear is, you can give a fish to a person, but if you teach them how to fish, they would be able to really take care of themselves for life. I know I'm not doing quote for quote, but education for me is really important. So anything causes that are related to education and feeding people, there are people that are starving down the street. So we do a lot of work with Feed America. I have a project going on constantly now. So every time somebody buys the cookbook, I will donate $2 to Chef Jose Andres Foundation, World Central Kitchen. Almost skipped my mind. So I truly believe in what he does. His passion to feed people when in need, in crisis, is really speaks true to my heart, and I really want to support that. And then, the children of the world, right? We got to feed them. So anything related to feeding and education is really how we boil it down. And then any big charities or charities that surround any of our local restaurants. So supporting our community is also a big part of who we decide to help.
Earlier in the interview, or a couple of times now, you've referenced your employees as mentees, which I think is a really cute name. And you also said, that one of the hardest things in business is managing people, whether it's employees or customers. And, I've talked to a lot of business owners, both in the restaurant and hospitality space, as well as other industries. And a lot of folks are telling me it's still a pretty tight labor market. I'm curious how you approach that. What are some things that you've tried and found success with, both from a recruiting standpoint as well as a retention standpoint?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. We have tried it all. We have hired firms to help recruit. We have done a lot of job posting, and we have found that the best way to recruit the people who are in alignment with our mission and our value is through referrals. Mm-hmm. And they stick the longest. They kind of been pre-screened, right? If you have an employee that goes out and recommends somebody to come work for you, they have pretty much already pre-screened, because number one, they want to work with them. They're going to maybe make sure that their success of the person that they refer is also a part of their success. So we have an internal program where if you go and recruit somebody and they stay for at least 3 months, they pass the 90-day test, we give them, I don't even remember the dollar amount, but we basically give them a nice gift card for each referral. So that's what I have found to work the best. And also just through talking to our customers, sometimes we have converted customers' kids. Again, the restaurant is one of the best first jobs, I feel. And if they already love our place, they know who we are, it's a lot easier to train them. You can train skill sets, right? Those are easier things to train, but you can't train heart. You can't train value. Do they have integrity? Do they have teamwork? Do they have the sense of innovation and just being a part of a group? So those are the things, are the core values that we look for. It actually spells MINT, M-I-N-T, modern, inspire, nurture, and teamwork are our four main categories in our value. And when we hire, even our staff will know that those are the things that we're looking at when we're hiring or firing at the same time. And with that, it keeps people in the business. Even I'd say this all the time, and my managers, our newer managers, didn't believe it at the beginning, but we have such a fun culture. We pay well. That's really important. We have great benefits, but we are a family yet / have a corporate mindset, but we really take care of each other. Sometimes the grass looks greener from the other side. They will feel like they're very comfortable here. I want something more. They would go work somewhere else. Within a year or so, they'll come back. So that, to us, I feel like it's a winning success story, saying the grass isn't always greener, on the other pasture, and knowing that we're probably doing something right that is keeping people, or they'll go out, test something out, and come back, because they do come in young. And I believe that they would only really appreciate us if they do have a little bit more experience. Let's say we are their first job, go and try 2-3 more jobs, and then decide who is really a good fit for them, for their growth. And if it's not, and you guys decide to come back and we left on good terms, we would be happily to take you back.
Yeah, it's so important to have that ability to compare and contrast, right? So, Nikky, I want to shift gears a little bit, and I'm curious to hear about a serious challenge that you have overcome, either personally or professional, maybe some lessons learned going through that.
Mm-hmm. Wow, the first thing that really popped in my mind, this was probably the most expensive lesson that I learned, so I'm going to share this one. Probably up to $1 million that I lost on this lesson. And I decided to start another restaurant concept. This was pre-COVID in around 2017 or 18. And I wanted to do a fast casual concept of Asian mint. So we came up with a bowl concept, kind of like a Chipotle concept, where you kind of like pick things and put them in the bowl, and you have like this perfect dish. You would have like fried rice with some like beef skewers, chicken skewers, shrimp skewers, tofu skewers, with similar flavor profiles that you have come to love with Asian mint. It's very different from what Asian mint stands for. We are known for, our food was already really fast, which was really funny because the customer said, Nikky, how can you be faster than what you're doing already? And I'm like, I don't know, but I'm going to try it out. But that pretty much means like, we're making fried rice in batches, and we're kind of scooping everything in, kind of like what Chipotle does. But Asian Mint is really known for fast food, but everything is custom made to order. We can make a dish that is stir-fried wok tossed. All of our wok dishes could be done, within 2 minutes, but then it kind of gets in the queue. So we have to operate that. So faster bowl Asian concept. Great concept. We hired a couple of firms to create the branding. We have hired consultants to help figure that out, because I didn't know how to create a fast casual concept, let alone something is similar to chain or franchise restaurants, right? So we did all that, spent a lot of money, and everything was completely different. The operation, the hiring, who we hire, how we hire, payroll was very different than what a full service restaurant is. We opened it, got great hype. Also, we did cashless. This was pre-COVID. I feel like if I created this concept 2 years later after COVID, it would have been like the perfect concept. We switched it. So I said, let's give this concept a year and see how it goes. So divide that up. There was a lot of money that was went into this testing process. I probably should have spent it or switched it over to an Asian Mint 6 months earlier. I gave it 6 months, way too long. We were competing a lot of other franchise brands that are around the area. The location that I picked was probably not the best. But my reasoning behind that was, I was surrounded by a Chipotle. I was surrounded by a a burrito chain, a taco chain, a burger chain, a McDonald's, a Chick-fil-A, like everything. I'm like, if I was going to test my franchise concept, it should be around where everybody else was going to be. So I was competing against them as well. Thai food, unfortunately, at the time, or maybe still today, is not as well known as fried chicken or burgers just yet. I think it's coming. We are now commonly referred to whenever I watch another Netflix show. They'll be like, hey, let's order Thai takeout. It's no longer Chinese takeout, right? So we're coming. Thai food's coming strong. And I always knew that location, we could switch it because we always had to have a backup plan. If this doesn't work, what are we going to do with the lease? We have a 5-year, 10-year lease. So we could always switch it to an Asian Mint. When we decided to do it, we started getting all of our regular customers coming back in. And the message did come through. So if you listen to your guests, this was main lesson number 1, like listen to your guests. They will tell you exactly what they want, but you really got to be listening to them. So when we opened, they came in, congratulate, had everything. I'm like, this is great, Nikki, but man, I really would love an Asian Mint. And I'm like, okay, we'll try it out. Bring your friends and all that. So we'd come back every once in a while. They would taper off and then we'd go back to our other location and be like, because I really wanted, the Asian Mint. I wanted it to be served. I wanted this food style. I wanted this menu. So that is one of the most expensive lessons to share. Number 1, listen to your customers. Maybe test out the concept in a smaller format. There are ways to do that. You could do pop-ups. That's what a lot of restaurants started doing after COVID, right? How do you test or prove a concept before you actually go all in? Some people will try test kitchens or ghost kitchens in areas that they're not in. So you can see like, okay, is there really a market for my type of cuisine when you're something a little bit different? If you're opening here in Texas, I believe, tacos, burgers, pizza, you can put one anywhere. People would already understand what you're trying to sell. So test out the market, listen to your customers, and listen to your staff. Even my staff was saying, this is really cool, but really, do you really, really want to do that? I'm the one and only sometimes innovator in the business, and they really have to like rein me in. But that's my strength, and we all have agreed. But there are certain things that they have to say, okay, let's prioritize number 1. And, what does really make a difference financially and for the brand itself. So we have to really constantly rethink what we're doing. That was a big challenge.
Yeah. And, I hear this story a lot, and I've been through it myself as, a business leader, somebody who's got creative ideas, right? Your strength sometimes turns around and becomes your weakness and bites you in the rear end, right? You've got these great ideas. But I think, for me, even hearing your story and having versions of that myself, I try to look at what happened there and learn from it, of course, but not beat myself up too much over it, because I don't want the next time I have a great idea or what I think is a great idea to be too scared to, delve into it a little bit more. Think about exactly like you're talking about. Okay, if I've got another idea, what is a smaller scale way that I could test it? A pop-up kitchen, maybe set a shorter time length. Okay, like I'm giving myself a new framework in which to try the next idea that if it weren't successful, isn't going to hurt as much financially, but doesn't scare me away from still trying those new ideas.
Absolutely. I was lucky enough at the time. I just joined EO, Entrepreneur Organization, and I signed up for a mentor program. So my mentor at that time that really coached me through that process, just like you said, you can't beat yourself, to death because of this mistake, but what did you learn? And like, what truly were, the obstacles that you think were really working against you that you might have not seen before? What were your blind spots? So Brett Mueller really coached me through that whole process. And it wasn't easy, but he was, he kept me on track of like, okay, are you looking at your numbers? I'm not a big numbers person. I'm all about, being the front of house. I'm in the sales side and marketing. And he was more financial, and he really made sure like, okay, you're doing great over here, but are you looking at all your numbers? Are you looking at, stats? Are you really checking out your competitors? Constantly reminding me to do all those things was extremely helpful. And he was the one who brought it up. Like, you picked a location. Yes, it sounds great on paper if you could like compete with them, but man, you're competing against corporations that have 10 millions of dollars to market themselves. And I'm like, yeah, I did not think about that.
I just thought about how awesome I am and how awesome my food is. Yeah, I get it. And Nikky, I've just got one more question for you. But before I ask it, I want to do two things. Everyone listening today, I know you love today's content. Please hit the like, share, subscribe button on your favorite podcast app. I also want to let people know the best way to get in touch with you, Chef Nikky. What is that?
Social media. I am on Instagram a lot. I do reply to all my direct messages. Would love for you to subscribe to my YouTube channel. If you just search Chef Nikky, Nikky, I would pop up, subscribe, like as well. And you can always find me around and about the restaurant at Asian Mint. If you're in the Dallas Metroplex area, please come and visit. We would love to feed your soul with really amazing Asian food. And reach out to chefnikky.com and you can find everything that I'm doing. Keep current on when I can come and see you in your neighborhood, or reach out if you want me to come and speak to your organization. I would love to come and share my passion with them.
That's awesome. Okay, last question for you, Nikky. How do you see your businesses evolving in the next year or two? What do you think the big changes are that are coming?
It is major. What do we got? AI, right?
Mm-hmm.
A new administration coming in. We have a new workforce, a different generation that we're constantly evolving our operations to really fit for them, and really I have a team now to do that, right? Like, we're constantly evaluating our staff and what works and what doesn't work. So constant change and staying up to date, being innovative. That's one of our core values as modern, is really staying innovative in what we do. Yes, we are a restaurant, we serve food, but we need to stay up to date in every single part of running a business. Just keeping up with trend. We are really honing in on using AI in our operation. We started using AI first in our marketing messaging, right? How do we communicate? But now I have my team, I task them to start figuring out new technology and systems that are using AI to really make our business run more efficiently, effectively, through costs and through operations. So yeah.
Can you give an example of the AI that you're looking into now?
We are looking into inventory. So we are an Excel spreadsheet kind of operation when we're doing inventory. But I said, hey, I know there's an app out there that can help with liquor inventory. I know there's a lot more back of house inventory control programs, and how we can incorporate that with our POS. So we use Toast, and they have a lot of plugins, that have come up. And since I would say maybe last year, there used to be maybe one or two operation programs to look at. Now there's like 10. So we're constantly having to evaluate to see what fits our need, price range, what it can do. And we're in that process right now. So hopefully in 2025, we have a better program that would help with our inventory, back of house, cost control.
Tell me more about what you mean by the new workforce.
New generation, right? Think about it. They have different mentality from what I grew up with, which is, work hard, work till you can't work anymore. But now it's all about life balance. So this has probably been 2020 did a number on us, but I think for the benefit of us all, it made us really prioritize what's important. The newer generation comes into the workforce looking for a company that they can align with in terms of their value and their interests, right? They're looking for a place that's not going to chain them to the store. So we have actually had to evolve, let's say, even our scheduling program. We have an app that we use that allows them to switch, shifts that they want or don't want with their peers. That used to not be the case. I mean, I've been in business for 20 years. We used to work on an Excel spreadsheet where once the schedule's published, that's the schedule. We have to be more flexible. They might not even have a reason. They might not be sick. They say, hey, I really don't want to come into work tomorrow. They need to have a way that they feel comfortable and that it's not going to hinder their job performance when they're making these kind of decisions to take care of themselves first and foremost, before having to decide that they want to come into work or not. We have to be flexible with that. Respect it.
Well, Chef Nikky, I want to be the first one to thank you for sharing both your time and your story with us today. I'm really grateful for it.
Thank you. It's been an honor. Thank you. These are really fun questions. I've never really had the time to go so deep and in a lot of these questions. So thank you for the opportunity.
I appreciate those kind comments. It's been a lot of fun for me too. Folks, that's a wrap on another episode of the Inspired Stories podcast. Thanks for learning with us today.